So I have to take care of 30 seconds of business because it's been pointed out, even we had an attorney do this, but he did it at the last moment, the Lashon, and you all, were kind enough to sign. Anyone who didn't sign yet, please, I beg you, before you leave, you must sign. We don't want to run after everyone, but I also want to have two of the proposed amendments that you, in 30 seconds, by acclamation, that you vote in favor. So, and it's to get this squatter that we have on the second floor out. So, the text of the amendment, that I will do this, I'll do only one. The Millinery Center Synagogue will not donate any of its assets, including but not limited to cash or cash equivalents, nor will it allow its assets, real or personal, including but not limited to the sanctuary, the basement, the balcony / mezzanine area, the area designated on the certificate of occupancy as a social hall on the second floor, or as such space may otherwise be described by others. None of the assets may be used by any other entity or individual, whether or not such entity is an IRC, Internal Revenue Code, 501c3, tax-exempt entity. Do we all agree?
Yes.
By acclamation, thank you very much. We'll put in the text as I just read it. There's a little shima that could change the understanding.
Had a bunch of Spanish lady. She had a bunch of children, all fine, healthy. Then, as an older woman, she had a child, a last one, and this boy had Down syndrome. It was a very bad case, very, very bad case. It was so bad that he really could not exist in an institution. Her husband could not take it. He told her, if you keep the boy home, I'm going to leave. She wouldn't let the boy go. Husband left. The boy is our neighbor, so I hear him screaming day and night, day and night. Speak to the mother. She can't let him go. She cannot let him go. It's a Muslim. This is not a Jewish mother. A Yiddish mom is very, very attached. The land of Israel is our mother. We are her children. We are so attached. That's why when you come into the land, you have to give her a kiss. I haven't seen Mommy for X number of months, sometimes years. I have to give her a kiss. And when I lie down on the land, she kisses me back. That's what Rambam says. This is not a mitzvah. This is a brit. This is a relationship. This is a relationship we have with the land and through the land to God. And Rambam goes on and on and on with how wonderful and important it is to live in the land of Israel. Your sins are forgiven, and you should always live there, no matter what the situation is, etc. So how come he does not count it in the 613? You can't tell me that because there's no Beis HaMikdash, there's not one mention of Beis HaMikdash in all of these halachas of how important and wonderful it is to live in Israel. So the answer is something else, I think, that there's a Ramban. He says that when a person does a mitzvah in Israel, he gets a greater mitzvah than if he does it outside Israel. That person eats matzah. I would say you eat matzah, doesn't make a difference where you eat the matzah. Israel, America, France, same mitzvah as matzah. Ramban says no. Ramban says that anytime you do a mitzvah in Israel, it's a separate, higher level. He writes in Ekev, he says, Ikar kol mitzvot liyoshvim be'eretz Hashem. The main place to do any mitzvah, matzah, tefillin, mezuzah, is in Israel. Even what you call chavas haguf, personal mitzvot. Because he explains, and this is an interesting, very, very interesting point. It's such an important point Ramban makes. He says like this. He says it in his way, and a lot of people don't know what he wants to say. He says like this. All the world, America, Russia, France, Germany, South Africa, every place, is obviously controlled by Hashem. God controls the world. However, God controls the world through his angels. In Sefer Daniel, it says that every country has a Sar, has a guardian angel. There's a guardian angel for Russia, and there's a guardian angel for America, and for every other country. And in heaven, they have meetings, like the UN Assembly. But that's, UN Assembly is a bluff waste of time. This is the real meeting of the guardian angels, and they decide with God's, of course God is sitting at the top, he's the president of the council, but they decide. Soviet Union, 70 years, then disappears. They decide. South Africa, apartheid, 150 years, disappears. Roman Empire, 800 years, disappears. Everything is by the counsel of guardian angels. There's one place in the world which has no guardian angel, the land of Israel. There is no angel taking care of that land. Only God himself. Ein Hashem lokecha ba, v'reishis hashana l'achar shana. God himself looks at the land and takes care of the land. There is no angel. And that's why he says, when you do a mitzvah there, it's extraordinary, because you're doing it in God's presence. You do a mitzvah in America, there's a sort of a barrier. Because first you do the mitzvah, then the guardian angel of America says, oh, Reichman, you ate matzah, very nice. Let that go up so God should see it too. But it has to first go through the guardian angel. And sometimes he doesn't let the mitzvah go through. But in Israel, it's right to Hashem right away. And therefore, it's the main place. That's what he says in his language. I want to explain it in our language. World history is governed by historical law. There's a law. Nations are born, nations rise, grow, mature, become old, and die, and cease to exist. It's the basic law of world history. What we call history. We study nations that once were. Like a tree, grows, dies. Everything has a cycle of birth and death. This week's Pasha's Tazria. Birth and death. It's the basic cycle of the world. You know why God did that? Because God wants us to know that nothing is permanent. Only He. He's the only permanent thing in this world. And people have egos. People have to know you are mortal. Not just you're mortal. Your nation is mortal. Everything in the world is mortal. Everything. Your car, your house, everything will die. Everything will turn back to dust. Only one thing is forever, God himself. A very important, maybe the most fundamental idea of existence. The eternity of God and the mortality of everything else. And that's what these angels are all about. They supervise the birth of the nation, the development, and finally they agree to the council to the death of their nation, and they cease to exist, so that particular angel. One land is eternal. One land has a history which defies world history. One nation is eternal and defies world history. The Jewish nation and the land of Israel. We are eternal. How can that be? Because God is eternal. And we have no angel. We do not follow natural law. It's God's own law. It's a separate law, a separate relationship, a completely different way of living and never ever dying. And that's why the land of Israel has no angel, and it's only Hashem. Can anyone explain? You know, I don't read many books, ever, because I don't have any time. So I'm still trying to learn a little bit of Gemara, Rashi, and Tosfos. But there's one book that I took a peek at, because I heard it's very important books. Mark Twain wrote a book. He wrote lots of books, but one book is a book of his travels. At some point in his life, his name was really Sam Clemens, he decided to travel around the world, and particularly he wanted to see the Holy Land. And he writes this book, I forgot the name of it. What's it called? Travels or something of Mark Twain. Anyway, he writes the book and he speaks about, because the main place he wanted to see was the Holy Land. He says he was shocked. This was written in around 1840, 50. He says he was shocked. He said the land was totally barren. He said he paid some Arabs to take him with camels, no cars or anything. So they would go for hours and hours and hours and not see anything. No human being, no birds, nothing. The land was totally empty. So I can't believe it. It's a holy land, the most holy land in the world is the most barren and most destroyed land in the world. Look at Israel today. Now we go to Israel, we visit Israel so much. Every time we come, we see a completely new country. More trees, more green, more birds, more people, more buildings, more roads. It's unending. I thought Yerushalayim, to tell you the truth, I thought Yerushalayim was what it was in terms of its look. Had these 2-3-story houses. They were very old, quaint, and it was very nice. And the Jews used to live there in the old days, in the early 1900s, 1800s. I come to Yerushalayim the last few years, and every time I come in, first of all, there's this, when you walk into Yerushalayim at the beginning, there's this huge bridge, which is shaped like David HaMelech's harp, Kinar David. It took me a little time to someone explain what it's supposed to look like, but it looks like it's full of strings, and this is a walking bridge. It's an incredible, beautiful bridge. You go a little further, and all of a sudden you see huge buildings, 30-story buildings. You drive around, and every place you go, you see these big cranes knocking down the little old buildings and building in their place, across the streets already built, a huge 30-story luxury apartment. I can't understand what's going on. I could not, believe me, I could not understand what's going on. You know what's going on? This is the Yerushalayim of the future, going up in front of our eyes. Yerushalayim of the future is going to be the most beautiful, biggest, most magnificent city in the world. No one's going to come to Yerushalayim and say, hey, it's old, run down, ancient. Say, no, it's the latest. They're building a train which will connect Jerusalem to Tel Aviv. I know every time I read about it, I say, delayed again. But that's the way it is. Eventually they do it. It's going to be a bullet train. It's already basically built for the last few touches. This bullet train was built with the help of the Chinese. A little smart because they realize that where the future is and they're putting their money there. So this bullet train will go 150 miles an hour. Connect Jerusalem bus terminal to Tel Aviv bus terminal. To go from Jerusalem to Tel Aviv will be literally 1/2 an hour. The same amount of time it took me to go from 191st Street to 42nd Street. Exactly 1/2 an hour on the express. Can you believe this? The city of Yerushalayim, which today has about 1 million plus, the city of Tel Aviv, which maybe also has 1 million plus, will all of a sudden become the borough of Manhattan in another year or two. One city! One city! And I guarantee the name Tel Aviv will become a borough, but the city will be called Yerushalayim. It'll become one city. And Tel Aviv will be like Brooklyn. The city will be called Yerushalayim. And Tel Aviv will be Brooklyn. Tel Aviv will be a neighborhood in Yerushalayim. The whole country of Israel will turn into Yerushalayim, it says in Medrash. Beit Shemesh will be also a borough of big Yerushalayim. The city of Yerushalayim will be the whole country. And Eretz Yisrael will spread around the world. It says in the Chumash that just the basic borders of Israel will be from the Euphrates River to the Nile River. That'll be the basic borders, besides what else. But we see this process in front of our very eyes. It's completely anti-historical. It's against history, 1,000%. There were, I don't know how many hundreds of millions of Muslims, 700 million, 800 million, all swear they will not allow this from day one. From over 100 plus years ago, they were against the Jews living in Israel. To no avail, because they are working with history. But Jews work with Hashem. Nothing to do with history. History is angelic. We are divine. The land of Israel is divine. It's not history. It has nothing to do with angels. Nothing to do with laws of history. So, that was carried away. So why does the Rambam not count the living in the land as a single mitzvah? Because it's more than a single mitzvah. Yes, it's a mitzvah, no question, but it includes within it everything about being Jewish. That's something you don't count. It has a shorish called Shorish Dal. He says mitzvah klolis. General, universal concepts are not counted in the 613. Living in the land of Israel is much more than a mitzvah. It's destiny. It's covenant. It's eternity. It's not a mitzvah. It is a mitzvah. And the Ramban does count it. But the Rambam, because it has this goral, this destiny, dimension, it's more than a mitzvah. You can't put it into the list. So Rabotai, the land of Israel has this incredible quality for us. Now, I gave this big Zionist speech here about living in the land of Israel, which is great. But unfortunately, we're not there. We're living here. So let me at least, you have to be male, it's Yosha. I can't walk out condemning everybody, including myself. So let's try to come up with a heter, but we'll see that the heter is a heter, but we'll see that it's a limited heter. The Rambam has three, there's a little bit of halacha, but it's important to say in this speech. The Rambam has three heterim to live outside, to leave the land of Israel. One is Torah, one is to get married, and one is because you're starving. You have no income in Israel. Okay, so but he says you should go back. You should get married and go back. Learn Torah, go back. Okay, so what's with all with us? So the Gemara says, when it says learn Torah and get married, I want to ask a question. What does it mean? I'm leaving Israel to learn Torah. What does that mean? What does that mean? I can't learn Torah in Israel. I can't learn Torah in Israel. I once had a discussion with my Rebbe, the Rav, on Rachel. I was talking to him about, I spent the summer in Israel, and I said to him, the learning of Torah was incredible. I felt something very high, very special. I think it was a little bit insulted, the Rav. He says, what's wrong with the Torah of America? What's wrong with learning with me? I mean, it's not good. You don't learn well over here. I said, you learn beautifully. But when I'm learning Torah in Israel, I feel God's presence. He's right there with me learning. In America, I don't necessarily feel that. So he says, Reichman, you're right. It's a good point. But he himself always felt God's presence when he learned Torah, so for him it didn't make a difference. But for a person like me, it did. The point is, when you're learning Torah, it's not just I learned this, I learned that. It's to become a person who is a person of Torah. I'm Jewish. Torah is Jewish. Torah is Judaism. That's who I am. So if a person says, you know why I'm out of Israel to learn Torah, what does he or she mean? Not that, okay, you're in the yeshiva, Lakewood yeshiva, who are you? Okay, so you're there for a few years. Now what? The Peretz says, he's saying, but my Judaism is American Torah. I'm an American religious Jew. I don't fit into Israeli religious Jews. I go there, I don't know who I am. I'm not a Haredi, Israeli Haredi. I'm not a Mavdal, Torah Dati Umi. I'm American from American religious. I don't fit in. So and then he says my children don't fit in, or won't fit in. So that's the second thing. Lisa Isha says marry a girl. So he goes out of Israel to marry a girl. Fine. What about family? When we marry somebody, that's just a wedding? It's building a family. She says, well, we're raising American family, American religious family. Our kids can't hack the Israeli lifestyle. They can't. To Haredi, to this, to that. They understand American from. You learn, play baseball. I don't know what else is American from. Anyway, you live in a private house, you have 2 cars. It's being from. So, but you can't do that in Israel. So he's saying, Lisa Isha, not just to get married. This is the way I raise from. This is the way we keep the Jewish nation. This is my little branch alive. And my children feel identified and comfortable with our Judaism. And they will accept it and continue to put them into Israel. They won't. That is a 100% legitimate reason not to be in Israel according to halacha. Absolutely. And that's the basic reason that I would say explains from the halachic point of view, how can a Jew live in America and not be in Israel? When the Rambam says you must live in Israel, even in a city full of Goyim, rather than live in America in a city full of Jews. You must, because he gives you the 3 heterim. Okay, we're not talking about starving in Israel, but a person can claim also the kind of income I'll make there will also damage my family. So the basic answer is, we grew up here, we have established our roots here, and we have to maintain our Judaism and our culture and our future. So we have our shuls, we have our yeshivot, and we go forward with this lifestyle. All of this is correct. So I'm not, anybody should think it through, and I'm not saying that everybody has to get on the next plane to Israel. However, that being said, that's only vis-a-vis the mitzvah. It doesn't deal with the question of Jewish history, what's called para-history, non-historical history, the unique history of the Jews in Israel and Hashem, the Brit, that covenant of Avraham Avinu, of the Ramban, of the Talmidei HaGra, of the Chalutzim, of the holy Jewish soldiers who have given their lives so that there be a state of Israel. They were not doing it for a mitzvah. They were doing it because of the love of Israel and the land and Hashem. So what are we going to say? Are we living up to that brit when we're here? Ramban writes in his mitzvah of living in the land of Israel, he writes that there's a mitzvah, he says, to redeem the land, get the land into Jewish hands. It means there's a mitzvah to live there physically, but there's also a mitzvah to develop the land. So we're living in America, and we have our halachic license to do that. And it's more than maybe a license, maybe it's a mitzvah. Maybe it's a mitzvah to raise good for American Jewish children, to build Jewish communities, etc. It's a mitzvah. But what are we doing for the brit, for our relationship to Israel? So if we fight the political battle, we are supporting Israel. No ifs, no buts. This is our destiny. We are one with every Jew in that country. That country is our country. And we're not embarrassed to say it. And we don't care what people say, that we're disloyal. We are absolutely loyal to the land of Israel. And we will use all our power to make the American government support Israel. And you don't have to agree with my next statement. Totally, I think you should agree. But my next statement, you don't have to agree. When I go into a polling booth and I decide what name, which lever to pull, I only have one question. Nothing else. Who will be, what I think, the better supporter of the state of Israel? Nothing else. I don't care about anything. I don't care if he's good for taxes, not good for taxes. I don't care if he's good for garbage collection or not, if he makes bike lanes or doesn't make bike lanes. All I know is one thing. Is he going to be the most strongest, best support of Israel that I can pick? And that's why I vote. You don't have to agree with me, but that's how I think. And I do it every single election. I'm not going to tell you how to vote, but you can pretty much figure it out. But that's the only criteria, so it's a yes or no question. But everybody in their own way, we have to be part of this brit. Cannot just live in America, live in a cocoon, and forget about our brothers and sisters in Israel, because they are, and we are one. And this Ramban is writing, he says that you do get that mitzvah, or you do get part of that brit, that destiny. And you should think of other things. If you can raise children, that they should live in Israel. You have people in Israel who can help financially, you should do it. Because even in halacha, Aniyah Eretz Israel might be more than Aniyah Yecha. You should give charity to Israel. In many, many ways. I would have to say, the American Jewry has definitely, at least up until today, lived up to this historical destiny. We, as a community, have been the most important ally of the state of Israel on the planet. Because of American Jewry, there is a state of Israel. We were the ones who got the President of the United States to recognize Israel in 1948. And we've been behind the President time and time again to support Israel in different times of crisis. Plus the financial that the American Jewry does, as well as everything else. So we are living up to the brit, at least for people in Chutzlaritz. And I hope and pray that we will continue. I can't accept any of these counter movements that we read about Jewish. Unfortunately, it's so painful just to read about it, and certainly to say it in words. Jews on campus can be supporting BDS, boycotts of Israel. Jews? It's unbelievable. I can't even say that and not have the tears in my eyes. How is it possible? How is it possible? So we have to continue our tradition as American Jews, the number one ally of Israel. This way we become part of the BRICS. And I can go on and on and on for another few hours. And I only rather than say half of the first page of a 4-page speech. But it's getting a little late, and we want to celebrate maybe some other places about Yom Haatzmaut. Everybody's invited after this. You can come to Yeshiva University where we work and join us tonight for the Chagigah, the Manport Auditorium, and then down in the cafeteria tomorrow on campus, 185th in Amsterdam. The morning is full of shiurim about Israel, and then the afternoon is big Chagigah, a big celebration, and I'm sure there's many other things going on in New York City, wherever else we are. Chi Yisrael Olam V'ed. Od Avinu Chaim.
Thank you, Rabbi Reichman. Beautiful, beautiful. We're going to daven Ma'ariv in 60 seconds. I just want to get...